welcome back to my channel. So you can see the GT350 is behind me. It's raised on the lift, so that can only mean one thing. That means I have good news. I know this has been way too long. It's probably been over a year since I removed the engine from the Shelby GT350, but I'll have all of the information of the Shelby and its engine in an upcoming video really soon. Like I said, I know it's been long overdue, but at least we're going to end 2020 on a good note with at least 1 or 2 videos of the Shelby GT350. Today we'll be working on the giveaway car, which is this 2019 Ford Mustang GT. If you want to enter for a chance to win the Mustang, you can enter by going to DRVNFAST.com or Woman.Driven.com. I'll have both of those links and all of the details in the description down below. Every $5 gets you 1 entry for a chance to win this car. We've already worked on all of the external modifications for the exception of one that's coming really soon. But today, since you see that it's raised here on the lift, we're going to be working underneath the car. Now that all of the external modifications have been installed, for the exception of the last one that's coming really soon, it's time to match the look of the car to the sound of the car. So that means that today we'll be installing an aftermarket exhaust. Now you guys know me, I like getting sound clips before I install the new exhaust just to hear the difference. So I do have to let you know that this isn't a 100% stock exhaust because the previous owner did make a small change. So basically did a resonator delete and he added an H pipe. So I'm not gonna lie, it does sound pretty good with the H pipe. I like it, but like as usual, you can always make it better. You can always make some changes to it. And I'm very, very excited to get the new exhaust on here because it's going to sound more refined, it's going to sound louder, and the big plus is that you'll be able to control it. So I already recorded those sound clips, so let's play it for you so you can hear how it sounds before the new exhaust. Like I said, it sounds pretty good, but it's going to sound even better with this new exhaust. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. Let's remove this exhaust from the Mustang GT in order to get it ready for the new exhaust. So let's start here at the rear. So it's pretty much going to be 3 sections. So first we're starting off here at this rear section, which is going to be all the way up to here. So that's the mufflers. And then once we remove that section, we're going to continue here. So this is pretty much that H pipe that I was speaking to you about. So as you can see, there's no resonators here and it has the H pipe that we need to remove. And then the final section, now this is something optional with the new exhaust that I'll be installing on this car. So we're going to remove this pipe right here. So it's going to remove the passenger side cats. Like I said, that's something optional that you can do if you want to with the new exhaust system, but we will be changing this, so we'll be removing this. So again, this section here that'll remove the passenger side cats, then we remove the H pipe and also this rear side that includes the muffler. So let's get straight to it, and then once we're done with this, I'll show you the new exhaust that we'll be installing today. So my plan was going well until, of course, like usual, something always happens. So my initial plan was to start here at the rear, just like I spoke to you guys, and then just start section by section. So first, I was gonna start on this side, on passenger side, and then remove this section off. And then I was going to move on to the driver's side and then remove this section off, then make my way and then just remove the H pipe. But now I can't continue because let me show you. So whoever did the installation for this H pipe on this GT decided to weld the H pipe to this pipe right here. So you can see that right there. So now this just ruined my plans because instead of going section by section, I now need to remove everything on. I'm hoping, I really hope they didn't weld the H pipe to here because that's just going to be horrible. So hopefully not. I won't see until I remove these ones. So I loosen these clamps off and move them to the side. So for now, I need to just remove this whole section from the H pipe on. I only have one auxiliary jack. I would need to have two to be able to do it myself because if not, it's almost impossible for me to just take this whole section off. So I will need Chris's help to remove this whole section off. So let me take care of that and then I'll see you guys once I'm done. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do that by myself without that extra auxiliary jack, but this is what I was talking to you about in regards to the H pipe, and now you can see it here. The only thing that now that it's off, I'm a little bit confused because I could have sworn that started in 2019, that these came with actuators, so you can open and close the valves kind of like the GT350, but I don't see it on here. So I'm not sure if that's an option that you can add when like ordering the car, or this GT just didn't come with it. I'm confused. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys know anything about that. We can move to the last section here, which is removing this passenger cat. Now this is probably going to be a little bit challenging simply because I can easily get to this bolt, but there's another bolt all the way up here that you can't see, and that's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Not sure what can fit here to remove it, so I'll probably have to look at some videos online just to see how to remove that. But other than that, once we get this off, then we're good to go to install the new exhaust. Everything is off, and that passenger side cat was a bit hard, but at the same time not to remove. You have to have the right tools in order to remove it, and the way to get that bolt off is actually from the top, from the engine bay, which I'll show you once the car is lowered. But you need to have PB blaster, the right extensions, and an impact. If you don't have that, then it's going to be really hard for you to remove it. I actually didn't have PB blaster here at the shop, so I had to run to Walmart. Once we put PB blaster on that bolt, then we were finally able to take that off. So now everything is off and we're ready to install the new exhaust. Here is the full exhaust system by Armytrix that we will be installing on the 2019 Ford Mustang GT today. Now let me just show you this packaging here. So this came extremely well packaged. It took me such a long time to remove all of this bubble wrap and put all of these parts here, but presentation is key. It's always A1 with Armytrix. As you guys know, the GTR has an Armytrix exhaust. The 720S also has an Armytrix exhaust. And now the Mustang GT will have an Armytrix exhaust. So first, let me show you this downpipe here. So this is what I was referring to earlier. This is what's going to be replacing that passenger side cat. Then moving on, we have an X pipe. So we will be replacing the H pipe with an X pipe here. Then we have these pipes that follow, and of course we end it here with the mufflers. Now you really can't see it here because it's wrapped, but here are the actuators. So this is another feature that I really do like about Armytrix, at least with this system, because you get to actually control your valves. You get to open and close your valves whenever you want, and it doesn't matter at what RPM you want, it will remain closed. Now there is a small pipe here. So here we go, this one. This actually goes on the driver's side. So this one will be replacing the driver's side pipe there. Now that's going to be after the cat. And here we have the tips. So the tips, I chose flat black. I think that's going to look so good. And then of course, here we have the module that controls the valves as well as the remotes here, where you'll be able to just open and close your valves whenever you'd like. I also really like this mat that they sent in order for me to lay down the parts. Like I said, presentation is always nice. So this Mustang GT will have a polished stainless steel full Armytrix exhaust. It's going to look so nice, especially here with these tips. Now I can't wait to install it. But now before we install that Armytrix exhaust, I already know you guys are going to ask me, well, why didn't you turn on the car just to hear how it sounds without the exhaust? So let's go ahead and take care of that, and then we can get started with installing this Armytrix exhaust. It's the next day. Last night it just got pretty late, and then we came back today and we just continued, just because I have a lot more modifications that need to be installed on this car, so I really can't take that much time. So you can see these are the tips that I was referring to. They're matte black. I really like how they look and just how they match overall here with the rear section. It just blends in and it just flows really nicely. We start off with the mufflers. Here's a brace, the X pipe here. And then this is that downpipe that I was referring to that eliminates the passenger cat. You will have to replace the stock clamps just because the stock clamps won't work with this. So these are new ones here. You guys are probably going to ask is that if there's going to be any issue here, now that there's a missing cat here on the passenger side, there's going to be an issue with pressure or uneven flow. So the answer is no, if you're not going to tune the car. So if you don't plan on tuning the car, then you won't have an issue. If you plan on tuning the car, then you will have an issue, and I would suggest not to go this route. So if you plan on tuning the car, if you plan on adding a supercharger, then don't go this route because you will have an issue. Now, I know you guys are probably gonna ask me, well, you're planning on tuning the car since you're gonna add turbos. Yes, you're right, but once I add the turbos, this is going to be gone because the turbos are going to connect from the X pipe and on. So this right here, it's going to eliminate the driver's side cat, and just this section is going to be gone. So for now, this is just temporary while I don't have the turbos on the car, since I'm not going to tune it out. But once I add the turbo again, that is gone. And I know another thing that you guys are probably going to ask is that since there's this downpipe here and there's a missing cat, if that's going to shoot any cell lights. No, that's not going to give you any cell light, any errors. So you will be fine with that. So I'd say that this setup, how it is right now, would be perfect if you're wanting your car to sound the loudest possible without having to get aftermarket headers, without having to tune your car. Then I'd say go with this exact setup here and add the downpipe. If you want to tune your car or add a supercharger or anything like that, then don't go with the setup. Just go with the X pipe and on. Just get that cat back, X pipe and on, and you should be good. But I do like the option. Now, another thing is that it doesn't matter if you just choose to do the cat back from the X pipe and on. You will still have the option of controlling the valves, of turning them on or off. I want to show you one last thing, which is the vacuum line. So that was just more of an annoyance than anything. It took Chris and I like about 2.5 hours just to run that, just because you have to make sure you have the right length. You have to figure out where to actually put it through just to run it. So like I said, more of an annoyance than anything, but it got done. So let me show you. Here it is coming out from this side, and this side connected here with a T connector. And then it's pretty much just going in a whole bunch of places here. You can see that it comes out through here. It's pretty much going here through this plastic piece, and then it goes up all the way to the engine bay. So now that I showed you that, let's bring the car down so I can show you how it's run in the engine bay. And I can also show you where to access that bolt when you're removing the passenger side cat. Let me just show you how to access that nut in order to remove that bolt from the passenger side cat. So you want to get a few extensions, and then you want to put that in between this ground wire and the strut. Then it's going to be a straight shot down. It should go in between that AC line and the headers. Then you'll be able to access that nut in order to remove the bolt. Now moving on here to this side, we have the solenoid here. So this is what controls opening and closing the valves. Then we have this vacuum line here that connects to the T connector to a factory vacuum line. And then we have this cable here, which is the power cable. So this goes inside connected to the OBD port that connects to the Armytrix module. Placement of the solenoid is temporary, and you may have noticed that I had to remove the engine cover, which I wasn't a fan of because you have to remove the strut brace as well. But like I said, this is temporary, so once the turbos are installed, then I'll reorganize this and just clean it up. But for now, it is going to stay like this. But again, this is just temporary. Now that you guys saw that, it's time to get a cold start. It's going to sound a lot better than that cold start without the exhaust, because honestly, I wasn't a fan of that. The only thing is that it was pretty interesting that when it was idling, it kind of sounded like it was cammed, but again, wasn't a fan of that cold start. So in order to get a proper cold start now with the Armytrix full exhaust, we're going to roll the car out. That way it won't sound a lot louder here inside with all this echo. So again, roll the car out. Once it's out there, we'll get a proper cold start, and then we'll take it out for a few runs, and then I'll see you guys once we're back here. So let's talk about that cold start, which I thought was just amazing. The only thing I have to tell you is that before the cold start, I removed the Armytrix module just because I wanted you guys to hear how it sounded with the valves open. Once you have that Armytrix module there, once you do the cold start, the valves will be closed, which is a good feature in case you don't want to wake up your neighbors, or in case you're somewhere where you don't want to be loud, and then you can always just go in the remote and then open them if you want your car to be louder. So again, a nice feature. Then on the way there, I was playing around with it. First, I started with it off, so the valves were closed, and it's pretty quiet. It's really comfortable. I like how pretty much you think you don't have an exhaust. It's a lot quieter than when it had the H pipe, which I was a little bit shocked. Then once I turned it on, so the valves were open, you can obviously tell it has an exhaust. No drone, it sounded pretty good. And then once I did the runs, first I did it with the valves closed. Didn't sound bad, but my personal favorite, the one that I thought sounded the best, was obviously with the valves open. I love how it sounds now. It just sounds so good. I've heard many Mustangs, many GTs, and in my opinion, just the way that this GT sounds now with the Armytrix exhaust is just my personal favorite. I think it sounds so good. It sounds different than the other exhaust systems, and you can't beat the fact that control it if you want to have the valves closed or the valves open. There's also a feature that you can go on an app and you can program it for it to open the valves at a certain RPM. So if you like that as well, you can program it there. I wouldn't like that just because I want either on or off. Most of the time, I just want it completely on because I want to hear the exhaust, but I do like the level of customization that Armytrix does offer. Now, the look and the sound of the car both match. So now that we're done with that, it's time to move on to the suspension. I have tons of suspension parts that I need to install, and I need to move quick because that deadline is coming really soon. So I have to have this car done, which I am so excited now to move on to suspension because that is going to transform the car. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.